VisualEyes is a Flash-based authoring tool developed at the University of Virginia that weaves images, maps, charts, video, and data into highly interactive and compelling dynamic visualizations. Originally called a history browser, VisualEyes was created at UVA's Virginia Center for Digital History with a startup grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Now UVA's Shanti, the Sciences, Humanities, and Arts Network Technological Initiatives, is offering VisualEyes to a wider audience beyond historians. In this screencast, we will demonstrate a number of projects created using VisualEyes. You can explore these projects in more detail by going to our website, www.viseyes.org. The Texas Slavery Project. This project was created by Andrew Torgott, then a PhD candidate in UVA's Corcoran Department of History, who explored the prevalence of slavery in Texas during the mid-19th century. Torgott collected county-level slave ownership data and drew maps that represented the county lines for each of the 9 years covered. Each county can be shaded to show the relative enslaved population levels and animated over time. Clicking on the various options will change what information can be visualized. Clicking on a county will bring up the data for that county. You can also graph various views of data chart lines and compare the raw data or normalize the data to the same scale to see trends independent of the magnitude of the data sets. Jefferson's Travels to England. Created in cooperation with archivists and librarians at the Thomas Jefferson's Monticello and the International Center for Jefferson Studies, this visualization looks at a 6-week trip Jefferson took in England in 1786. It was created in a class of 4th-year history majors taught by UVA historian Scott French and VisualEyes project director Bill Furster. The visualization tracks where Jefferson was and when by relying on letters, secondary sources, and entries into his memorandum book, which appear in the yellow box as the timeline of the trip progresses. Clicking on points in the journey brings up booklets highlighting various points, such as this one on the Ranelagh Pleasure Gardens. One student was interested in Jefferson's spending and developed this graph of his expenses from the data in the memorandum book. It's curious to see a big jump in spending on this day. We can look at the memorandum book entry and see that he paid Brown for a painting. While in London, Jefferson had sat for a portrait by the artist Mather Brown. A student interested in art history developed this mapping of artist Benjamin West's American School painting, of which Mather was a member. Perhaps the most compelling visualization is student Eric Ball's exploration of the mail Jefferson sent and received during the 6-week trip. The timeline feature conveys at a glance just how long it took for mail to be delivered by oceanic voyage. Ball found images of Jefferson's letters on the Library of Congress's American Memory website. This letter shows a code that Jefferson used to encrypt diplomatic messages being mailed across the Atlantic. James Smithson. This visualization, funded by the Smithsonian Institution, examines the life of Smithsonian benefactor James Smithson, his circle of colleagues, a timeline of important events in his life, and transcripts and images of his will that funded the Smithsonian Institution. Smithson's biographer, Heather Ewing, supplied the historical materials and served as the lead historical consultant. Jefferson's Travels to Poplar Forest. The success of the first Jefferson's Travels seminar led to a follow-up course focused on Jefferson's Travels to Poplar Forest, his private retreat located about 90 miles southwest of Monticello. This visualization explores the journey from Monticello to Poplar Forest, the crop production of the plantation, the tobacco production calendar, the architectural details of the house, and the contents of his retirement library. Vinegar Hill. The digital history class took a break from all things Jefferson the following year. The Vinegar Hill project examines the history of a once vibrant African-American neighborhood in downtown Charlottesville, Virginia, that was declared blighted and demolished by the city under the federally funded Urban Renewal Program in the mid-1960s. A Ford Foundation grant given to UVA's Center for the Study of Local Knowledge supported the digitization of the city housing records, including appraisals and photographs of every property. For the digital history seminar, students extracted key data from the appraisals, the name of the owner, condition of the property, appraised value of the property, etc., and helped create an interactive map of the entire neighborhood. Users can click on any building and see the information for that property displayed. Photographs from the appraisals were digitized and put on Flickr, a popular and freely accessible image-sharing site. Also displayed are panoramas created by merging multiple photographs together, and some excellent aerial photographs to provide orientation. Users are invited to interrogate the appraisal data and produce their own color-coded results. A menu of variables includes land value, building location, whether the property is African American owned, and whether the property is owner occupied. More complex queries can be done by using the query box to set up multiple conditions, so hidden patterns can be easily detected visually. One reason that many local residents still have bad feelings about the Vinegar Hill urban renewal project is the long time it took to build anything in its place. Perhaps the most graphic depiction is this animation of aerial photographs taken from the 1950s to present. This yellow overlay shows the Vinegar Hill project area. As the timeline progresses into 1965, we see the neighborhood during and after demolition. Even in 1972, the land remained largely vacant, and it was not until the mid-1980s, some 20 years after the demolition, that the city found major developers for the property, most notably the Omni Hotel. Today, the site includes a McDonald's, a Staples, and several office complexes. Thanks for watching this overview of VisualEyes projects. You can explore these projects in more detail by going to our website, www.viseyes.org.